Well, let's say you're the landlord. I'm the tenant. I come to you and I say, I'd like to get my intercom repaired. Shouldn't take very long, maybe a day or two, I guess, but you're the landlord. What's your response going to be to me? My intercom is not working. Hundreds of buildings have intercoms. 15 units in this 18-unit building have intercoms installed. Can you fix it? What do you say to me? What's your response? I also have a second car because my roommate has one car, and so I noticed you have some extra parking stalls in the parking lot. So uh, I'd like to see if I can get one of those stalls. And is it going to cost me any extra? Because I know all the tenants in the building, the parking is included with the rent, so there's no extra charge. So uh, what what's going to be your response? You're the landlord. What's your response? Well, we live in Los Angeles, California, and I know a few good people in Los Angeles. I know a few good people in California, and I'm sure there's a lot of good people that I don't know. But one thing I know for sure is that housing discrimination is rampant in California and it's rampant in Los Angeles. In other words, there's a lot of racist people here. Systemic racism, yes. I sued the city government in 2015 for systemic housing discrimination, practice, and pattern. I didn't win that lawsuit, but I did lose a lot of money behind it. It was dismissed without prejudice to the main extent. And but I mainly sued my landlord for this housing situation, housing discrimination. And I've been involved in the court system for a while. Been in and out of the court system. I know pretty much how to sue people, and I have sued a few people. I'm happy to say, and I'm sad to say, because this is our constitutional right. This is the what we have available to us in this country, and so that is, and it's an entitlement to be able to sue somebody, and of course, people can sue you too. Um, Let me digress for a second to say that lawsuits are not for everybody, and if they're not for everybody, then it's really not a equal or fair playing field for people that can't sue anybody, because a lot of people just can't do it. You might not be able to navigate through what you have to navigate. The main thing is that you would probably need to have an attorney, and a lot of people can't afford an attorney, and that's just basically it. It becomes a very elite type of system that's for people that have money, and a lot of people sue and get sued, and they tend to be corporations, companies, and people that have money, millionaires, and that's the way it goes. It's the only system we have, but the civil and the criminal justice system needs a lot of reform. It's a very bad, corrupt system. It's almost anarchistic in some ways, meaning that it's just people doing what they want to do, and it's no consideration whatsoever for any type of procedure or law or regulation or anything. It's just people doing what they personally feel should be done, and that, of course, results in prejudice. Um, but I think the state bar is actually trying to create some class of, I think they call it paraprofessionals, and to some extent, they're going to be taking money out of lawyers' mouths. But the system really needs to be reformed. We need to have the court system free to everybody except for corporations. It needs to be free to the individual, especially to low-income people. They can get a fee waiver right now, but the fee waiver doesn't really help much if you don't have a lawyer to navigate the system. And then, of course, a good number of lawyers are just not good lawyers. I won't say that they're corrupt. I'll just say they're not good lawyers. And so that's the system that we have. It's not a good system. Um, so anyway, I've been involved in and out of lawsuits. I've learned a lot about the legal profession. I've studied the legal profession, and most people that have been my landlords, I haven't entered court or anything like that, any type of legal proceeding. Haven't had any problems with most landlords I've dealt with over the years. But this particular landlord took over our building and just proceeded to take away services. And he's a white man. He's from another country, from Sweden. And so he just decided to take away services and, of course, reserve the services for basically white people. And that's what he did. So his name is Walter Barrett. Walter Barrett, you probably heard of him. And so he created a corporation called High Point Apartments LLC, which was owned this building, which is 1522 High Point Street, 90035, High Point Apartments, 1522. And so anyway, one thing happened or two things happened. And when you live in an apartment building, there's a lot of routine things that happen. There's a lot of routine maintenance that's required. My rent agreement says that maintenance is including but not limited to. So therefore, it's not, the landlord can't come in and say, well, we're not going to fix this, we're not going to fix that, because my rent agreement is very clear that, there's no limitation on what would need to be fixed as long as I report it to the landlord, and as long as it's not something that I put there, or not something that's my personal possession. Okay, so we had an intercom system. Intercom system is a health and safety feature. Some of you are probably familiar with it if you live in units that have intercom systems. You might live in a condo, some type of development, or some multifamily dwelling apartment. You need an intercom system to communicate to people. So it's for health and safety. It's to screen people. It's to keep people out that are undesirable. It's to help you, let people in, assist you with letting people in who you want to see, your friends, relatives, delivery people, all the same. So the system wasn't working for some of the units, and the owner decided he was going to replace the system. So he told everybody, including me, I'm going to replace the system. And he proceeded to do that, to put a whole new system in, and skipped over us. And I don't know at what point he skipped over us. I don't know if he skipped over us because I was complaining about the parking, or he just skipped over us because we were black and that's what he was going to do. But basically the way it came down was that most of the units that he renovated and put new intercoms in ended up being populated by white people. As far as the parking, he took away the parking from mostly the black tenants, and he kept the two-car tandem stalls for white tenants who happened to move in, happened to be white, and they got that privilege. But at the same time, he said to the black tenants, well, if you want to park in that stall, you have to pay $50 extra, and you have to be first come, first served. Well, the problem is everybody's rent agreement was parking's included. So there wasn't any reason to pay $50. So nobody paid it. And so nobody got a two-car stall. So over the years, after that point, over the years, of course, I was very concerned about that, and I felt I could take him to court, and I felt I could prevail. And I basically did not prevail, but I still took him to court. And if you know a little bit about the court, you know that this is something that is helpful, I think. If you have a contractual agreement, you can basically continuously sue somebody if you're still being damaged, because a contractual agreement is a continuing obligation on the part of both parties. So in the case of a rental agreement, you pay your rent, that's your obligation, and then the landlord has to make repairs, have to make sure everything is livable, habitable, peaceful enjoyment, that type of thing. If the landlord does not do that, then he can be liable financially. That's pretty well accepted state law, federal law, and also local law. This is a rent control building, so that's another so-called level of protection, which you may or may not get because it's not guaranteed you're going to get it. So anyway, all right. So he took away the parking, and so therefore we had parking. Uh, Myself and my roommate had parking for 2 cars for 4 years. I'm sure some of you have heard this story before. Not my story, but your own story as far as parking. Um, so at the same time, the intercom was not being fixed. The parking stall was taken away, and I complained about it. And pretty soon, I pretty much said it was racism. So I put in discrimination complaints against him. And you have to let people know that you're complaining. You just can't complain and not tell anybody. You have to tell the landlord that, okay, because you have to give them an opportunity to fix it. And when you tell them, especially in writing, that becomes your proof that you notified the landlord before you sued them. Okay, that's very important to do that, to document that. And my feeling is that you're not harassing somebody if you have to repeatedly ask them because they don't respond, because their lack of response is called neglect. And when they neglect to respond, that's what causes you to write them again or communicate or FedEx or UPS, whatever the case is. So that's what happened in my case. I amassed a large number of code violation complaints against this owner because he refused to fix our intercom system while he freely fixed other people's systems that happened to be white. And it wasn't just me complaining at the time. It was 2 other African American tenants who also complained about the intercom system not being repaired. And of course, the owner did not fix theirs at that time. Didn't fix mine ever. Okay, so in the meantime, the intercom, the parking, other things to do with habitability and maintenance were probably addressed. I mean, everybody has a sink that stops up, everybody has a bathtub that stops up, a faucet falls apart, or the paint is peeling. Those things have to be done. So the landlord did do those things, but the maliciousness was that he came into my unit repeatedly to do other things. And when I said intercom, I even had the manager come in, I think at least 2 times, and I said intercom right to her face, and she just ignored me. And the maintenance guy was there, and he said, "Oh, I don't know anything about it," you know. And this is after you've written them repeatedly. So anyway, make a long story short, that's not going to be that short. I took him to court, and I've been before maybe about 6 or 7 different judges on this issue, and it happened because I still live here. I still have a rent agreement, and when you still have a rent agreement, you're still being damaged because you're paying your rent. You have to do your research and understand that your rent goes for maintenance. Your rent pays for housing services. And I had this owner of the property, Walter Barrett. He went to court with his management company. He's had different management companies, but the latest one was Power Property Management, which is probably one of the worst property management companies. Power Property Management Incorporated, that's on Venice Boulevard, and many people go on their Yelp website and can give you some really bad things that have happened at the hands of Power Property Management. But anyway, I'm going to stop them again. Let me get some more light here. That was unusual, huh? Okay, so anyway, people have had other complaints about Power Property Management. So you can look at those online under Yelp. That light doesn't help much, huh? And, oh, there we go. That's better. Okay, so, uh, I took them to court, and maybe 6 or 7 times. And the judges, as I look back, either they ruled, basically what you call with prejudice, where they cut off my right to complain. But I didn't complain about the same thing each time. I mean, one lawsuit was about the intercom, one was about parking. So I separated it. And then my feeling was that if the damages were continuing, which they were, because I'm still paying my rent and I'm still entitled to housing services, then I would just sue him again, which is what I did. And a couple of the courts ruled that they issued judgment saying without prejudice. And without prejudice, if you know about court cases, means you can sue the person again for the same exact thing. So some of the cases were without prejudice. For the ones that were with prejudice, I went and sued him again because I still had a contractual agreement and he still was not fulfilling the service and I still was being damaged. So that was my reasoning for that. Let me see something here, see what my notes say here. So, basically I paid, I don't know, thousands of dollars in rent since 2014. This has been going on since 2014. And, that's a lot of money to pay rent, to not be able to get an intercom repaired, and not be able to get an available parking stall. What the owner went to court in last July, and this is I had sued him, was 2019, I believe, and finally went to court last July because of delays because of the COVID situation, and so he his defense was that now this let me explain. In 2016, I did sue him for housing discrimination. In 2019, I didn't sue him for housing discrimination. I sued him for neglect. But of course, all these things were still tied in with discrimination and the fact that I'm black and he's white. They're still tied in. But the last suit in 2019, it was just basically for housing services and neglect and negligence and breach of the agreement, things like that. So his whole testimony and defense in that lawsuit, and he did file a cross complaint, but his whole issue was that he felt that I was harassing him because I was claiming that he was discriminating against me. So because I claimed racism, he felt that I was harassing him, and that was his whole platform and program, and any email or letter or sign I had posted about racism, he brought that before the judge. And the judge, I've been through a number of judges, but I think the recent one I remember was Emma Castro. And I'm not sure she's a judge. I mean, she was a what do you call a temporary judge. So she was a lawyer that was in there as a judge, or maybe she was a former judge. I'm not sure, but she was not a judge directly. She was a temp judge. And I guess she kind of ate it all up. Now, let me tell you something about judges. I don't have anything against them personally or individually, okay? But when you have systemic racism, the court system needs to be revamped, okay? Systemic racism includes the judges. There's a problem. There's problems there with these judges, okay? This is the only system we have until we replace it. But in the meantime, the system is crap. All right. It's too easy for judges to discriminate based on the fact you don't have a lawyer, based on the fact that you're black or a minority, based on the fact you don't have money, big money. Okay. It's too easy. It's too easy for somebody like my landlord to be a millionaire. He just sold this building for $10 million and he had millions before that. It's too easy for him to take $100,000 and buy the judge indirectly a new car. It's too easy. Okay. There's no checks and balances on our court system. Okay. And there's no checks and balances to stop systemic racism and corruption. Okay. So, anyway, that's my feeling that this judge, Emma Castro, Los Angeles Superior Court, that she ruled in his favor. She ruled judgment. She dismissed it with prejudice. With prejudice against the landlord and his company, And I think she did it because she does not like people who complain about racism. Okay, because that was his main thing. He went to her and he said, all he complains about is racism. Here's his emails, here's his letters, here's his sign, here's his website, and that's and he wanted the judge to be a hate monger. He wanted her to hate people that protest racism. That's what he wanted. And that's what he got. Because she ruled that I could not sue the owner again. I didn't get my intercom repaired. I didn't get an extra parking stall, even though he has extra parking stalls. Okay. And even though he isn't charging for the extra ones, I even got to the point and I said, look, you want to charge me 50? I'll pay the 50. Where's the application? Let me fill out the application. He ignored that. Okay. He ignored that. So my point is here, racism has a lot of power in this country, has a lot of power in this state, has a lot of power in the judicial system. Racism. And if some of you haven't been touched by it, I'm happy by it. I'm happy for you. But those of you who work in government, those of you who work in business, you know what I'm talking about. Okay. So this landlord, Walter Barrett, he even told the court, and again, this is small claims court, so there's no record of it, unless I took notes or something, which I did. But he actually told the court, he says, he thinks he's entitled to something. That's what he told the judge. He said he thinks he's entitled to something. Well, I am entitled to something. I'm entitled to fair housing. Under the Unruh Act, which is UNRUH of California, which is modeled on the federal law, which is public accommodations, I am entitled to full and equal housing accommodations and services. Okay, that's what the law says. But that landlord, Walter Barrett, from Sweden, a white man, feels that blacks like myself are not entitled to those things, okay? And the judge, she ate it up. She ate it up. All right, she ate it up. And she ruled, dismissed the charges against him, civil court, small claims, with prejudice. So I can't sue this guy anymore on the basis of that, okay? Because I could have basically sued him again, but now he sold the building. He's not the landlord anymore. So there's a 3-year look back if I want to sue him for discrimination, which I can. But I'm debating whether I should do that now, whether it's worth it, because I've been before so many judges that, now I went before 2 federal judges in 2015, 2016, and I specifically asked them to order the intercom repaired, order the parking stall to be restored, the second parking stall, which we had 2 stalls for 4 years. And I'm at the point now where I'll just take anything. I'm not trying to get him to give us the stall that we had in 2014, but I am trying to get one of the additional vacant stalls that he has available all the time. But anyway, so that's I think that's a newer issue. I don't have to go back to 2014 to prove that he has available parking stalls right now. And the one of the housing laws is that if a landlord has available housing, they cannot deny you that housing or housing service based on your race or protected category. So, but okay, so the judge did that, So she dismissed him, the landlord, with prejudice. She dismissed the management company and the resident manager without prejudice, which means I can sue them again. And I can also sue the new owner because the new owner was not involved in the lawsuit. And the funniest thing is that the judge made her decision on the same day, July 9th, on the same day that the owner sold the property. Now, what is the odds of that being a coincidence? July 9th, he sold the property. July 9th, she issued her decision, which kind of keeps me from having any wiggle room to go after him again for even a penny if this had happened, if the dates were not exactly the same. So, how did the dates get to be exactly the same? I don't know. Okay, so anyway, Los Angeles is very racist, if I didn't say that already. Um, you have to look up, if you want to get into civil rights, what you're entitled to in this country and in the state of California. You have to read the Unruh Act, UNRUH, and it talks about full and equal housing services. Don't let anybody, I'm not trying to give you legal advice. I'm not a lawyer. I can't give legal advice, but don't let anybody dissuade you from your rights when it comes to the Unruh Act, because the Department of Fair Employment will harass you. They will intimidate you to keep you from filing Unruh complaints for housing, because you have more rights under the Unruh complaint than you have under, I think it's section 129, 12820, 129, 129, something like that. Whatever the other housing laws are that you have to prove disparate impact or disparate treatment, don't use those, okay? Don't use those unless you do have the evidence of it happened to 10 people that are black or 10 people that are Spanish. Don't use those, okay? Doesn't have to be 10, could be 9 out of 10. Don't use those laws. Go for Unruh, because Unruh protects your individual rights. It's California Civil Code section 51, I believe. Okay, let's see. And so I feel for the young people in this country right now. I feel for the middle-aged people coming up who maybe haven't been exposed to racism. I really feel for you, because your generation and your kids coming after you are going to feel the brunt of this discrimination if something is not done about it now. It's really, really unacceptable. Um, and I just want to clarify that I do have some, oh, what's the word? Can't get it out right. But I have put some feelers out in terms of racial discrimination against Walter Barrett and High Point Apartments LLC. And I do plan to pursue those avenues, because that was not brought before the court, at least from my standpoint. Uh, and I think he didn't directly bring it before the court in his cross complaint. So I think I still have the ability to go after this owner for discrimination, and the look back would be 3 years. So anything he did of a discriminatory nature the last 3 years, I can still bring that before court. So I'm looking into that. Um, okay, let's see what we got here. And I hope that if any of you know any tenants that live in this building, that you'll bring this to their attention so they can watch this video. It's going to be a video. We're making a video now, and then we're also going to have some printed information that will appear on a website. So I'll give you that link and everything down the bottom of this video. And the interesting thing is that the judge, she dismissed the owner and his company with prejudice, and she dismissed the property management company without prejudice, which means I can start the whole thing over again and sue them for the same exact thing that I went through already. But it's interesting because I tried to appeal this, and there was some confusion over what the law actually says in terms of a appeal from small claims action. And the way I was reading it was that you could not appeal, the plaintiff cannot appeal, but if there was a cross complaint, the plaintiff can appeal. So I don't know, maybe I was reading it wrong or something, but anyway, that judge did not agree with me and did not let the appeal go forward. But I think it was interesting that, okay, the Judge Castro, she dismissed the owner and his company with prejudice. She dismissed the management company and their employees, or whoever, resident manager, without prejudice, so I can sue them again. And then their cross complaint, she dismissed their cross complaint without prejudice, meaning they could sue me again. And then the judge for the appeal got a hold of it, and he denied he would not hear the appeal, which I understand his reasoning. And he was not a judge either. He was an attorney just filling in as a judge, which is kind of like really destroys the integrity of the small claims system, because I think people go to small claims court and they really think they're going to go before a judge. And when you get there and then, you're almost forced to have it heard by an attorney, you might as well just did mediation or something. You didn't have to really go to court, waste your time. But because some of these people that are temporary judges, they are attorneys and they don't know the law like a judge should know the law. And when I was before this last judge, which was the appeal judge, I don't know, he was depending on me to tell him the small claims statutes. And why would he depend on me to tell him the small claims statute when I'm not a lawyer and it's supposed to be an informal proceeding? Okay. He doesn't even know the small claims statutes, and he's ruling on the case. But the interesting thing is that he said that I prevailed in the case. Now, I didn't get my intercom fixed. I didn't get my parking stall, the second parking stall that I would like to have, an additional parking stall. I did not get the court to rule on that, and I did not get any money. So why does this judge feel that he can write and he can say to the public, you prevailed? How did I prevail? And then on top of that, it was six people I sued, 6 defendants, right? Only two of them signed a cross complaint. So if 2 of them signed a cross complaint, why were the other 4 defendants even heard as cross defendants? Why? They didn't file the complaint. So you look at the court record and you see, it says these 6 people sued me. Well, 4 of them didn't even sign a complaint. So how are you going to sue me? You didn't sign a complaint. How's that possible? I've written to court officials numerous times on this, and they just feel like, so what? Nobody signed it. Nobody signed the complaint. Okay, any court you go to, you got to sign the complaint. Even if you get a lawyer to sue for you, you got to verify the complaint that you're the person that wants this lawyer to sue for you. None of that happened in this case. And I'm like looking at the court like, okay, is this a court of law? Is this due process guaranteed under the Constitution of California and the United States of America? Or are we in some type of third world country where there's no relationship to any type of order or law? Because that's what that is. If somebody is allowed to sue you and they don't even have a signed complaint served on you, how's that possible? And I'm not talking about people, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people in the same family. I don't know, people in the same company. They're not in the same company if they filed a suit individually. If they filed a suit individually, if that's what the court says, then where's the individual complaint? There's no complaint. It's anarchy. It's anarchy. It's fraud on the court. Sorry, I'm not more organized with these notes, but that's the way we're doing it. Let's see. So now they've even said, that there's guest parking at this location. So, I don't know if it's guest parking. Is it free parking? Is it paid parking? Can anybody come down on the street? I guess anybody can come down. So you guys might as well come down and just get some of that free parking. I can't get it. If you come down and pay your $50 a month, you can get some extra parking in this area. 1522 High Point Street, 90035 South High Point Street in Los Angeles. Come on down. Contact the manager. Contact Power Property Group. Ask them about the parking, because that's what they say. There's guest parking. I don't know who has the guest parking. I live here. I've lived here since 2010, right? And this new owner took over 2014. He sold the building, and now the manager, who happens to be black, She says there's guest parking. Well, she's never told me. She didn't even have enough respect or intelligence to tell me that there's guest parking and where is it at and who is it for. So, and believe me, when I talk about discrimination, I'm just not talking about white people. Some white people are racist. They're prejudiced. They're just as rotten to the core. Okay, but there's other nationalities in this picture too that are just as racist, maybe even more so. Some of them are code enforcement inspectors. I'm big on multifamily dwellings. I don't care much about single family homes, okay? I know those people don't want to see code enforcement inspectors, but when it comes to multifamily dwellings, you need to have the code enforcement inspector come out. Did you know, like, if you don't think an intercom is very important, intercom is important for health and safety, but let's just say you don't think it's important. Did you know that if you have a hole in your screen, well, first of all, you have to have a screen on your window. That's a code violation. No screens on the exterior window, that's a code violation, okay? If you have a hole in that screen so a bug can get through, that's a code violation. They'll come out and cite them for that. Now, which is more important, a window screen or an intercom? And by the way, some of the exhibits that in small claims court, they don't save the exhibits, but some of the exhibits that the property management company and the owner were touting around, some of those exhibits name city employees like the mayor, city council members, some of those exhibits that they used. And of course, the mayor and council and the housing department, they're all involved in this same bundle of racism. Okay, so what we're going to be doing the rest of this video, I don't see any more notes I have to use here. Let me see. Yeah. I hope you share this with anyone you know who lives in the neighborhood or anybody who's a tenant in the building, because, I wouldn't want this to happen to anybody. This owner, in 2015, when I sued him, his management company asked the court for $25,000, which obviously was, retaliation because I complained. $25,000 because I made code enforcement complaints and because I made discrimination complaints. He asked the court for $25,000. The court denied that amount, so they didn't get anything. Okay. In 2020, the same owner that they just dismissed with prejudice, he sued. He asked the court again. He sued me, countersued me, and asked the court for $10,000. Okay. I was still asking for the intercom to be repaired. My friends, relatives, delivery people come up. They can't get to me. Sometimes, of course, they can get me on the cell phone, but sometimes they can't. They can't get in the building, okay? They have to have something, entry code. I have to stand outside and wait for them, whatever the case is, okay? But I don't get the privilege that the white people get, okay? So intercom's not repaired. The parking is not. The parking stalls are available, and I can't get one, okay? So, but this guy sues me for $10,000, okay? Well, the court dismissed them with prejudice, okay, but did not give them the $10,000, okay. Now, this is the interesting thing, and some of their papers presented to the court, which I have copies of if anybody wants to see them, because they were not filed with the court. They were given to the court for review, but the court discards them. So, but I have my copy, okay. So if anybody needs to see them, you can. But they claim to the court that this is the previous owner and the management company claim that because of me asking for my intercom to be repaired, because of me asking for a second parking stall, that caused them to lose $70,000, upwards of $70,000, and whatever rental amounts. I don't care what they were trying to say. They said they couldn't get loans from the bank because of me, all because of me, right? My thing is this: That's not even believable, number one. But the second thing is, if you think you've been damaged by 70,000, barring punitive damages, why didn't you have lawyers, you have millions of dollars, why do you sue me for 10,000 when you're claiming damage of 70,000? Okay, doesn't even make any sense. That's stupid. That would be stupid, very stupid. Of course, this is all fabricated just to impress the judge, impress the court, impress the court system. So what I'm gonna do here, I gotta finish my little introductory remarks. Okay, what's gonna follow this is that I'm going to show a video clip from, I think it's 2018, and I'm going to show another video clip from, let's see, 2018, I think it's 2019, and then I'm going to show another video clip from a couple months ago. One video clip is going to be, I think, an inspection of the building and my apartment. You'll see that, you know, you talk about when when white people that are racist, you know, they call you a name, you know, they call you some type of derogatory name or something, and they recognize that you're black and they don't like that, you know. But there's also the white people, and they're still here, who ignore you, just ignore your presence. It's like you're not there. Okay, so this is what you're going to see in one of these videos, that I'm actually taping them coming into my apartment, and I'm standing in the hallway, and I have my complaints about the parking and about the intercom, and they walk right past me like I'm not there, and they go into my apartment and they come out. I don't know who they're in there talking to. I don't know what they're talking about, but they certainly didn't talk to me because I'm standing right there in the hallway. So this is what you know, I'm the invisible man to them, you know. Yeah, so anyway, we're gonna have that video, and then we're gonna have another video. I think it's 2019, where there's an inspector comes out, and you're gonna see that inspector, and you'll probably see me trying to talk to him about the intercom, and you know, and I mean, I've complained about other things like the door not working, the front door not shutting properly, the rear door of the building. You know, you let it go and it's still open. It's supposed to close securely. It doesn't, you know. They did replace the front door after years of complaining. They put a brand new front door on after years, you know. I mean, this guy gets like, say, was it 15? Let me see if I can add it up. This building, they get, let me see, average of, let's say average of 1,800 a month. So we'll say 1,800 times 18 units. $32,400. $32,400 is how much this owner collects in rent. Okay, $32,400, and some of that's my money. So they don't have the money to. He didn't have money to put a new door on the building. So he did put a new door, right? But he has no money to fix my intercom, which is my money. Okay, so this is what really gets me about housing discrimination, is that judge, all those judges, okay, not just that one, but all those judges, they don't know what an intercom is. They don't know what a parking stall is. They're ignorant, okay, on top of being prejudiced. And they don't feel that black people are entitled to fair housing, okay? That's a big problem. What's more important to them is discrimination. What's more important to them is economic discrimination. What's more important to them is that the company that I'm up against, they have a lawyer. They can afford a lawyer. That's what's important to those judges, okay? The money's important to them. They don't give a damn about their oath. They don't give a damn about justice. They don't give a damn. The second video you're going to see is, I think you're going to see an inspector coming out. And then the third video you're going to see, which was made a couple of months ago, is me confronting an inspector who I was able to get to come out to the building, but he would not go in the building and inspect. I've actually given them the entry code to the building so they can get in, so I don't have to be there. And they can, of course, here we go, I got cut off there. They can contact the resident manager and they can actually get the key to get into the building. Get the key to get into my unit. I'm sorry. So they don't have an excuse. The city code violation inspectors do not have an excuse. But over the years, I've heard all kind of excuses from rent control. I've heard all kind of excuses from the housing department, from code violation inspectors, and from the owner. It's not an expensive thing or time consuming to fix an intercom. He fixed the intercoms in other units. It took him less than 2 months for each unit, okay, which was the total repairs, not just the intercom. So it doesn't take that long, okay? He's just a racist, stubborn, ignorant owner. And the judges go right along with it. They're just as ignorant, prejudiced, and racist as that owner is. So the third video you're going to see is the inspector. I'm standing outside talking to him. He will not come in the building. Just to show you, he's I think it's Tolentino. I think his name is Luis Tolentino. Whatever nationality that is. And his supervisor is black. And they're both telling me that I'm not entitled to an inspection of the building, that I'm not entitled to make a code violation complaint, that I'm not entitled to have a working intercom, even though I pay money for it to be working. I pay rent, I pay for housing services. As a black person, I'm not entitled. So you're going to see that video, and you're going to see me trying to have a discussion with him. And he doesn't want me to argue. He doesn't want me to have an opinion. He doesn't want me to have a brain. He doesn't want me to be able to talk. He wants to muzzle me, take some sewing, thread, and just sew my mouth shut. So I'm just a deaf mute. That's what this guy Tolentino wants. And that's what his supervisor, Marcel Nicholas, that's what he wants. These are housing department employees, and they're not intelligent enough to know how to have a conversation, a civil conversation with a black man in Los Angeles in the United States of America in 2021. They're not capable of doing that. And that's very sad. I feel for the judges that are biased. I feel for the judges that don't know anything or profess not to know anything about the housing discrimination laws. I feel for the judges that, housing gentrification, you'll see some of the units in this video that are going up on High Point Street. And, I think I said it already. I mean, by the time they get the affordable housing, there won't be anybody here to even afford the cost of living to be in an affordable housing. The cost of living that goes with, having an apartment, having a condo, they won't be able to afford it. The new low income is going to be rent of $4,000 a month. That's going to be the new low income. Pretty soon, may even be $6,000 in a couple of years. But all these people, the government people, the racist government people, the racist politicians, the racist business people, they all work together. And I feel for people who have families now. I feel for kids that are coming up, because they're going to get the brunt of this, because I don't see a big effort to change this, to make this better. It's unacceptable. The racism, the housing discrimination, Department of Fair Employment, they actually discourage you from filing Unruh complaints, even though under Unruh you have more rights. Under Governor Newsom, I'm sorry more people didn't know this when he was facing recall, but under Governor Newsom, the Department of Fair Employment purpose is to make sure that there are complaints, because they are not going to turn any of those, what they call intake questionnaires, into complaints. They're just like a mill that keeps going around, like a rat on that thing, like the hamster, right? Keeps going around. That's what they want. They just want keep discrimination, keep going around, keep filing complaints, because they're not going to find anybody liable for discrimination, and they're certainly not going to find enough people liable to stop discrimination. It's just not going to happen. So anyway, that's my take. I got a good friend of mine. She's a very nice lady. She's 92 years old, and she said, at this rate, she doesn't give a damn what she says. And I kind of feel the same way. At this rate in life, I don't give a damn either. I don't give a damn what I say. I don't give a damn what people think of it, and I don't give a damn who hears it. But I think I have valid arguments here. So thank you very much for listening. Thank you for being here today. And I hope you have a very blessed day. And I hope you get in touch with me if I can help any way with any of your housing discrimination issues. But just keep that in mind. If you have continuing damages, you still rent from the same landlord, you have the right to sue them again. And I don't recommend anybody suing anybody. Let me tell you, we had 2 people die in this building, and I believe one of them died potentially because, or partly because, the intercom system, they wouldn't repair it. Some of it was not working, and the people were jumping. Emergency responders, everybody was trying to jump over the fence to the parking lot, which of course, that's one of the downsides of having a fenced-in parking lot, is that people can't get through when they have an emergency. But they couldn't get in the front door because of the intercom system not working. Nobody in the city, that building that collapsed in Florida, nobody gives a damn that building collapsed, okay? Those people died, nobody gives a damn. Nobody in government gives a damn. And the same with this building. Nobody gave a damn that that person died, I believe it was suicide, and that his friends and family and emergency responders could not get into the building. They're knocking on the door, banging on the door, trying to jump over that gate. If they had pushed my intercom, if mine had worked and they had pushed it, I would have went to the door immediately and got those people in here, okay? The city, the mayor and council don't give a damn how many people died. They don't care. That's the way racism works. I just got looking up some of the information about the COVID vaccine. I think it's Pfizer. And we all know that, the vaccine is only good for keeping you from going to the hospital, the emergency. That's what they tell us. But when I looked at one of these papers, it said that COVID, the vaccine, the Pfizer vaccine, prevents you from getting COVID-19. Now, we know it doesn't prevent you from getting it, but why would they say that? Why would they say that? I guess because, is anybody listening? Anybody paying attention? I was going to say that I'm not in any way telling you not to rent from people like Walter Barrett, who are racist, I believe. And I'm not in any way telling you not to rent from Power Property Management or High Point Apartments LLC, or the current building owner of this building is High Point 1522 LLC. I'm not in any way telling you not to rent from those people, although the owner told the judge that. Maybe that's why the judge ruled in his favor and dismissed him from the case, maybe because he told her that and she believed it. But I'm not in any way telling people not to rent from these racist people. I'm just telling you to be cautious. It's your money, it's your livelihood, it's your housing services, it's your peaceful enjoyment. And, you have a choice. You don't have to let landlords get over on you and treat you with disrespect. And, my rent agreement says you have to act in good faith and, reasonable good faith manner. Any of those judges that I went before, do they know what that means? Reasonable good faith manner? I don't think so. They don't give a damn. Why would they give a damn about that? I went before the LA city attorney, asked for help. The LA county attorney asked for help. Of course, the state attorney general, they don't give a damn. That's what it's taught me. All these people don't give a damn. They may not be racist, but they're definitely stupid. They're stupid, and for their own economic gain. You see, the gentrification in this neighborhood is utterly ridiculous, But it's just, drive out those poor people, get rid of them, get rid of those poor people, those people with disabilities. We got to get disabilities. We got to get them out of here. Seniors, we got to get them out of here. That's what these people want. They're vicious. Anyway, I'll let you get at it now. And hope you enjoy the rest of this video. I'm going to piece it together right now and get it posted, and hope you enjoy it, and hope you have a blessed day. And just watch out for the misinformation from people. It's not just about racism. It's not just about George Orwell's 1984. It's just about misinformation. And, you know, we can win. This is not acceptable. We can win this battle against racism. But we have to stop doing it, stop fighting it the way we've been fighting it. Okay, we got social media now, we got technology, you know, the fight is different now. It's different. It has to be different. Thank you very much.
Keys is the owner?
No, that's what she said. There goes Jade Beck. Let's go. Where'd you have my key?
I gave it to you. I gave you with the paper and your key.
Got it. What'd I do? Where's my paper?
I got your paper right here.
Okay.
Mine is in my pocket.
I want to go to the back stairs, so we'll see the back stairs.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, guys, they were so cute. He won't be no.
No.
Which one hang
1,
out?
2, 3.
Yeah.
Easier.
We'll circle back around here.
We'll circle back.
Okay. I'm gonna go get apartment 11. He's the only one Sally doesn't have. Why don't you make a coffee and then bring it back? Nobody's home.
Excuse me, behind you. Thank you.
Hello. Inspector's here.
I just want to see him. Yeah, hello. Yeah, I'm outside there coming in. Okay, bye.
Take care.
It's open. It's open, Ali. It's open. It's open now. Jade Beck, the intercom's not working.
I don't work for Matt anymore, so.
Well, what are you doing here then? You sent me a letter. Did you hear that one? She sent me the notice saying they're entering. So who does she work for? Well, I informed her, whoever she is going into the unit, she would not identify herself. So that looks like a stranger. I know everybody else going in. So we'll just wait till they come out. Oh, strange person in my unit. Well, who do you work for? I'm gonna go on this side of the hallway.
Thank you, bud.
Thanks, Dad. Thanks,
We'll
Dad.
go up.
Thanks, Byron.
Well, we had some concerns here. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Anyway, I have a copy here of the, if you need it, the report I submitted. And what I did on the front, I just summarized what I had complained about.
Okay.
So yeah, I have it if you want.
The
You know.
owner is still High Point Apartments LLC.
Yes. And what's your name?
I'm Inspector Tarantino.
Louis Tolentino. Okay, thank you. Luis Tolentino.
Louis Tarantino.
Yeah, sorry.
And you're Gary?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
What's the first name?
Gary. G-E-A-R-Y. Yeah, you're saying it right.
G-E-A-R-Y.
R-Y.
G-E-A-R-Y.
Yes.
Johnson. And you live at unit number 9?
Yes.
Can I have your phone number?
323
Uh-huh.
807 3099.
One of the complaints which I saw was the intercom.
Yes.
Intercom is not a violation. They
Okay.
may or may not have. That's a loss of service, but not a code enforcement violation.
Okay,
A
well,
loss
I've,
of service.
I've done a lot of reading, and
Okay.
it is a code violation, and it's
Okay,
a
you
lack of, it's a
can-
lack of maintenance. You see all these buildings here on the street here? Most of them have intercoms.
Okay.
Okay, they have to
Alright.
be
You
working.
want to talk to my supervisor?
No. What I have here, what I have here is, I have a order from the county, from the LA County, 2015, telling the owner to repair the intercom.
Well, it's on them.
The county
But,
has
maybe
jurisdiction.
you need to
If the
talk to my
county has
supervisor.
jurisdiction, you have
I don't want
jurisdiction.
to argue with
No. I want you to come out and tell me that you don't have jurisdiction. Because under the building and safety code, you have jurisdiction over every portion of the building. Okay? So if you're telling me that you don't have jurisdiction over maintenance, then you're not doing your job. You need to be fired.
Okay, can you talk to my supervisor?
I don't want to talk to you, so you talk to them.
Because
I've been complaining about this since 2015. This owner has said he's going to repair it. He has the obligation to repair it. You have the obligation to make sure everything in this building is working.
Okay, I told you already. I just spoken with my supervisor, intercom, and I know that.
You
for a
spoke with
fact.
him when?
Today.
When today? You just got here.
Yeah, but I saw your violation.
Okay, go ahead.
I called him.
Go ahead.
And he said that intercom, but I know that already.
Okay.
beforehand.
Okay. Well,
But,
I'm disagreeing with you. You have jurisdiction over every portion of the building. You're saying you're not. So you're not complying with your duties under the
Okay, do you want
health
to
and
talk
safety
to
code.
him? Because I don't want to argue with you because I told you already.
What else do you have on
we
your
will not
What else do
fight.
you have on your complaint? Let's go to that because you're not going to address this. That's
No,
okay.
I'm not
Because
gonna
I've
do that.
sued the city in 2015. I'm going to sue them again. I'm just giving you notice right now.
Okay. That's fine. All right.
You're derelict in your duties. You have an obligation to act in a diligent manner, and you're refusing. I will be reporting you to the mayor and city council. You seem to have a problem understanding that the city itself
Okay.
authorized the installation of this intercom system. The city itself, city housing department, authorized the installation. Okay?
Okay.
Gave the owner the authority to put that intercom system in,
I think you
and
need to talk to my
they
supervisor.
ordered him to do
You know what? I'm gonna call him and let him talk.
they ordered
I'm
him.
just following him.
Okay. Well, I want to go along with the rest of the complaint, whatever you have there. So, I don't want to address this if you're refusing to do your job. Okay.
No, I'm not. No,
The city.
I'm just telling you what
Yes.
I was.
I know, but the
told,
city
okay?
has jurisdiction because the city ordered me. I pay a rent increase every month because of this intercom, and you're telling me that I have to pay this owner extra money, and you won't make it work. I pay money for this intercom and it doesn't work. No. I don't want to argue with him because if he's
No,
prejudiced,
you
you're
already
prejudiced,
argued.
they're prejudiced. Okay?
You're already argumentative.
I'm not argumentative. I have a right to fair housing. I have a right to maintenance. I'm not argumentative. I'm only screaming because I'm talking to an asshole that doesn't comprehend English.
Marcel, I met Mr. Johnson, and I told him already about the intercom. And he's very argumentative about it. Can you talk to him? Can you talk to him? Because my supervisor, Marcel Nicholas.
Hello, Mr. Nicholas. It's Mr. Johnson. Not too well. I got an employee here who refuses to do their job duties of diligence. They're telling me that when the city orders an intercom system to be installed in this building, which they did, they ordered it to be installed. The owner did a new install in 2015, which was approved by the city housing. And city housing granted him a rent increase against me, so I'm paying for it, and it's not even working. You're telling me you don't have jurisdiction. And I'm telling you that under the health and safety code, you have jurisdiction over every portion of the building. There's numerous buildings on this street that have intercoms, okay? So they all need to be working. It's a matter of maintenance, okay? So he told me that you're basically just as prejudiced as he is. I don't want to talk to you. Mr. Nicholas, you haven't discussed shit with me. He's hanging up. Here you go. Let's go on with the rest of the complaint. He said we discussed it numerous times. He's refusing to do his job. That's okay.
Marcel? Hello?
He hung up.
No, he's still here. It's just breaking up. He said you hang up, but you're still here.
I just spoke with Mr. Nicholas in the housing department. He's refusing to do his due diligence to inspect the intercom
What
system.
will I do?
Yeah, that's how it goes. That's prejudice, bias, racism on the part of the city.
You care about the amenity?
So now he's talking to his supervisor, and his supervisor, I just was on the phone with him. His name is Mr. Nicholas or something. He's an African American, and he said that they're not going to address the intercom. And I said, you heard what I said, so.
Alright. So,
What about the rest of the complaint?
he told me to go because you've been already very argumentative.
I'm not argumentative. How am I argumentative? You're telling me you're not going to do your job. You're not following the fair housing laws. I have a right to complain about that. I got a complaint here, okay? It's got numerous items on it, and you're telling me you're not going to inspect those because you feel that as a black person, I'm not entitled to an intercom. I'm not entitled to maintenance. Who is this intercom for? Is it for the white people in here? Is it for the Asian people? Is it for the Asian people?
No, it's not that.
So I don't have a right to express myself, right? Because you said I'm argumentative. I don't have a right to talk.
Well, that's why
You
I
wanna
asked my
muzzle me.
supervisor. It's,
Now, I got a complaint here, right? It's got numerous items on it. I don't give a damn if you don't inspect it today. You know why? Because I'll go in the house and put in another complaint.
Okay. All right.
So if you don't want to inspect it, that's you not doing your job.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
What about the rest of the complaint? I'm asking you a question.
Well, my supervisor wants me to go because.
So your supervisors
I'm
are
not-
racist, and he's mad because I'm
No,
complaining
he's not
about
racist.
racism, and you're mad because I'm complaining about racism.
No. It's not.
I'm complaining about fair housing. I'm complaining about maintenance,
All right.
and you're saying to me as a black person, I don't have that right. So I don't know what you're saying.
Well,
I'm just assuming you're saying that because your action is that I'm a black person standing here asking for repairs, and you're not going
I'm
to
a
do
fair
it.
person, you know.
I'm asking for you
I
to
believe
inspect.
in everybody, you know.
No,
I'm
you
a fair
don't. No, you
person.
don't.
No,
That's
I
not your
do.
conduct.
I'm sorry, man.
You're not doing it.
I'm sorry.
And your supervisor. Let me make a record. Your supervisor, African American. Another African American denying blacks fair housing. Tell your supervisor that.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Have a good day. City of Los Angeles. That's the treatment we get from the City of Los Angeles code enforcement inspectors. And we have there's the address of the building right there. And that's how it goes. That's what happens in Los Angeles. You call for maintenance, put in a legitimate complaint. I'm going to read a little bit from the complaint here. Front door doesn't shut as expected. The rear door doesn't shut as intended. There's 2 non-operable vehicles in the parking lot. Unpermitted home sharing. Intercom does not work, not usable. Rear inside stairs are unstable. And there's an unpermitted structure in the parking lot. And you heard this inspector here just now. He will not do his duty. He has a duty of due diligence. He will not do his duty. He will not inspect. And today's date is, what's today's date? Hey, what's today's date?
18.
Today is Tuesday, May 18th, 2022. You have just witnessed an example of retaliation by city employees, code enforcement. You just witnessed denial of fair housing. You just witnessed denial of code enforcement violation inspection. You just witnessed all this. This is the City of Los Angeles, who is down the path here to make sure that the low-income, moderate-income people are driven out of the city. And this is just one example of a city employee. And he had his supervisor on his phone. His supervisor said, and I'm saying I want maintenance. I want you to inspect. And he's saying you're being argumentative. Of course, that's what they're going to say about a black person who is trying to assert their rights. They're being argumentative. So this is an example of what the city mayor and council condone in the city of Los Angeles. And we got all these, you can see all these luxury units behind me going up, all this construction on this street. This is all for luxury and rich people on that income level. This is not for poor people, not for moderate income people. And you just witnessed an example of what discrimination, racism by city government employees, you just witnessed what that is all about. So, it's a lot of work we have to do. A lot of people, Black Lives Matter marching, but, it's still a lot of work to be done in Los Angeles on behalf of fair housing, maintenance, just a simple request for inspection. The city will not do it because they're saying I'm argumentative as a black person. So as a black person, I need to be muffled. I don't have the right to speak. I need to have some tape and some duct tape and some sewing thread, to sew my lips shut so that I don't say anything, because the only person that gets to say something is city government employees who are Asian, like this person here, and who are black, like the person who's on the phone, who is in charge of making sure that I do not get fair housing and that I do not get maintenance. That's what that person's job is, under the authority of Mayor Eric Garcetti and council members like Mark Ridley Thomas. This is the tenant here, number 9, 1522 High Point Street, and we're signing off. Today is Tuesday, May 19th, 2021. You just witnessed discrimination, racism, retaliation, and have a great day.
Bravo, bravo.
Ready?
I said action.
Action. Okay, here we are in Los Angeles, California, for those people who are looking for renting a multifamily dwelling apartment units. And what I have here in my hand is some evidence where my landlord used this in court against me. You see, I asked my landlord to fix my intercom. Many of you know there's hundreds of buildings in Los Angeles that have an intercom system. I also asked my landlord for an extra parking stall because we have one and they have extra available parking. This has been going on since 2014 on High Point Street. So the landlord, because I complained, because I asked for repairs, sued me in court for $25,000. Guess what? The court ruled against him. That was in 2016. Here we are in 2021. He takes me to court again. Now this is his response to me asking for repairs. This is his response to me asking for an extra parking stall. He sued me again for $10,000 just this past year or two, and the court denied that. Now my landlord, he's not the landlord anymore, but he's a millionaire, and we have the same property management company. He's a millionaire. The management company is a millionaire, and not anybody in the city government, including the housing department, rent control, Department of Fair Employment, the state agency, none of them can do anything about this landlord. We got a vice president now who's black. She has no power over racism. Racism has a lot of power in this country. Now, I've been before about 6 judges since 2014. I give them the benefit of the doubt to say none of them know what a parking stall is. None of them know what an intercom is, even though thousands of buildings across this city and county have intercom systems. But when I asked for mine to be repaired, code enforcement, housing, who I believe are racist employees, would not even inspect the building. But when I ask for an intercom repair, this is the response I get from the management company. These are basically copies of documents I've sent them. Instead of answering it and instead of giving me the repairs, this is what they send me. This humongous package of documents. They even took pictures of my car, put pictures of my car in here, okay? So why? What's my car have to do with this case, okay? So the management company is Power Property Management Incorporated. Now I'm not telling you not to rent from these people. You want to come to Los Angeles? Come to Los Angeles. I'm not telling you not to rent from them. I'm just telling you to be cautious. Power Property Management Incorporated on Venice Boulevard. High Point Apartments LLC. Walter Barrett is the owner of High Point Apartments LLC. High Point 1522 LLC is another company to watch out for, in my opinion. Now, would you like to be a tenant in this building, 1522 High Point Street? Would you like to be a tenant and get sued for $10,000? I'm going to say that again because I'm going to have to cut it. Would you like to be a tenant in this building and get sued for $10,000? Would you like to be a tenant and get sued for $25,000? Well, let me tell you, 2 people in our building died. And one of them died partly because they couldn't get into the front door because the intercom system was not working. That's my belief. Does the city care about that? Does the mayor and council care? No, they don't. So I hope you watch the rest of the video and you realize this is what you may face if you move into one of these buildings on High Point Street and Los Angeles, 90035. Thank you very much.
It's November 8th, 2021. G1 Johnson here. My question is, if you're a tenant like myself and your intercom is not working, isn't it enough to just say to the management, either verbally or by writing, isn't it enough to say, my intercom doesn't work, could you please repair it? Isn't it enough to say that? Should you have to write 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 complaints over a 6-year period? Let's see, 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, over a 7-year period. Should you have to make 6 or 7 phone calls? Isn't it enough to just be able to say one time, maybe 2, I would like to get this repaired? That's my first question. My second question is, if there are extra available parking stalls, which there are, depending on who you are at the property you're at, the parking is assigned. There's extra stalls. There's 18 units or whatever, and there's 20 parking stalls. That means there's extra. Shouldn't it be enough, just enough, to say, I'm a tenant, and I would like to be able to be assigned or either pay for an extra parking stall that I can clearly see is available in the parking lot? Shouldn't that be enough? Shouldn't that be all a person has to say? Shouldn't that be all a black person has to say in America in 2021? Shouldn't that be all that person has to say? So I'd love to hear what you have to say. If you have comments, so just post them in the comments below. I know there's a few people out there that are haters. I can't say I'm going to post your comment, but I just may, because I think it's important to identify, people, which side of this issue are people on? What exactly is fair housing? I didn't use the word equitable, I used the word fair. What is it? What is exactly full and equal housing services? So I'd like to hear your comments. Just post them below. Thank you.